Well, hello, colleagues. This is Dean Green of the prestigious Langston School of Business with some insight and tips about grading. Grading is very important to our students. We're dealing with Generation Z, who needs instant and continuous feedback. And I want some of you are new adjuncts and new faculty. So I just want to kind of take some time to kind of focus on that. Going to do show and tell if you don't mind. But Gen Z is very hungry for information in real time, and we want to make sure we meet the expectations. We're in week three. Week four, as I mentioned, between week four and week five, we need to make a determination. Uh, do we give our students administrative withdrawals if they show up for class? And some of our students are dealing with uh, housing, can't get the housing. I ran into a student today that didn't have housing, and I'm trying to work with them. I think that's what we have to do. So I'm just going to kind of go through some things. Uh, for the 16 weeks, the first 8 weeks, and the 16 weeks, we need to make sure that we have momentum, that students feel like they belong, and we want to build retention. Okay. So again, you need to assess the attendance if you would, and that's very important. Okay. So let's talk about grading. When we talk about grading, I'm also talking about coaching. So as I mentioned, we don't just give students assignments without grade, or without attendance, or without, I would say, feedback. I think sometimes I see people give scores and no feedback, and that's not what we're trying to do. We are into innovative teaching, so we gotta lay it out. We're going to try to have the best interest in mind. So I would say when you're coaching, when you grading assignments, you give feedback. It's an opportunity to coach, and that's what I'm hoping that we more toward. So I am going to share my screen and kind of go through some things with you guys. So the worst thing that you can do first 16 weeks, first eight weeks, going into the students have no grades. That doesn't work for me. Students need at least a couple of data points. So I want to encourage you, come up with one or two assignments because they can assess, do they need to stay in the class or not. That is one of the things we try to show and try to give them feedback in terms of that. So I'm trying to share my screen, and of course I can't find my Canvas shell. All right, bear with me as I try to figure this out. Let's try this again. I'm gonna share my Canvas shell with you. Okay, here we go. So I am sharing the Canvas shell. You should see it. So when you really are doing a great job for the dean, you have photos, so the students see it, they're inspired. Again, I'm just kind of sharing. You can see some of the classes don't have anything on it, and maybe that's because they're not ready yet. But I think it's very important to, show the part. So we go into my policy class. Again, I'm co-teaching that with Dr. Mabula. One of the things I want to highlight is rubrics. So if you go into Canvas, I would highly encourage you to have a rubrics, have a grading for each of the students, and you can see these rubrics, but you can write in the CRN number. You can ask me, and you can pull up the various rubrics that are done all across, at least in our classes, and you can pull it up, and you can see this is my one of my rubrics where you have the criteria and you give it a score. I think it's important to do that. Maybe highlight the rubrics, let the students know what you're talking about. In various things, certification. I have a certification worth 50 points. Most of you do that's pass or fail. So I like that. Students know up front what to expect. I want to mention that. So assignments, we just finished assignment one. Don't look at the students' grades, but this is our assignment one. You look at that, you can see when it was available and when the deadline was. I kept it open because some students have problems. I want to highlight something. If you go through those three dots, the three dots are very important. I'm highlighting them. I'm pointing to it right now. You go through the three light highlights, and it lets you go to speed grade. Speed grade is right here. That's most of you are not familiar with this. This is how you grade. Uh, It's how you grade, I would say. And so, student, you go into this again. This is on LinkedIn. They're entering a LinkedIn. They're entering a web link. But I would say you go into the rubrics. The rubrics has the category. It tells what it is. And what I would like to do is you score it, save it. And what I would say, I always like to leave students feedback. Now, I will point this out. If you use, if you go to, if you go into this, you can also leave audio comments. I think right here, recording. So you can actually have a recording, which I like to do if you have time. You have less than 22. I highly suggest doing that. Take 30 seconds. Give some feedback. Students really care about that. I think that's very important to do that. So again, uh, when you're in the high level, you're doing some innovative things. So that's just a rating is very important. And I do want to mention one thing. I want to mention this right here up front. When you go into Canvas, you go into Canvas under grading. You can see the student grades. Sometimes you may have an icon that looks like a phone or like an old-fashioned phone. That means you have to go into it, you have to click through it, and you got to make sure it'll say if you need to accept it. But you want to have all once you grade, you want to have all the grades done. When you look at the sample one, you don't want to see any. You don't want to see any blanks like this. You want to have all your grades at the end. You're going to check that. I think that's important that you do that. But you want to have all these things in. There might be a reason why you have a blank. Maybe you're giving that students a time to get it completed. But you want to make sure at the end of the day, there are no blanks in the grade book. So again, I want to thank you guys for your dedication. So do I need any closing points? Again, provide students with a couple data points. You don't want to wait to the end and students don't know. They need to drop your class. They don't really know if they need to drop a class because they have no grades. Don't be that person. Students need to have their grades. We talk about Generation Z. They need frequent grades, and I will have. If you don't know anything about Gen Z, I will share my research on that topic. But I think it's very important that we do that. Again, make sure that you grade your students. Use your rubrics. Using rubrics is very helpful. A lot of times, students look at their score but don't look at the feedback. I've trying to condition my students. I always have some comments, so you need to look at your comments, and then won't have the kind of same kind of questions. Okay. And again, your rubrics, your syllabus is your Bible, is your social contract with your students. Make sure you don't deviate from that. Canvas can be a challenge, but you want to make sure that those two things are the same. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. I am your coach. I am your mentor. I am your cheerleader. And we want to give our students great customer service, and we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the students. Again, the focus on this is grading. Make sure your students have some grades. At least by week four, they should have some kind of grades so they can assess how they're doing. And use the time. Some of you are teaching online. Use those coaching sessions. I would say meet with your students, get to know with your students. Dr. Green signing out. Have a wonderful and blessed